So this video was kind of unexpected. Hey guys, what's up? I'm back. Sorry for the lack of video on Saturday. Saturday was when I was supposed to film. I filmed an entire try-on haul and it was all out of focus. So I just scrapped that. We'll try it again another time. Today I was actually going to come at you with another cooking video, which is still coming. That ended up working a little bit later than I had anticipated, which is fine. And then I also had a panic attack at work. Not work related. I'm honestly not sure like what the deal was. I don't really know what triggered it or what happened, but all of a sudden I just kind of started spiraling and went to the bathroom for 5 minutes and cried it out. So that's how my day went. And that reminded me of when I initially was starting my channel. I made a poll on Instagram asking like the people that followed me what they wanted to see me talk about. Some people responded with my mental health story and me having this panic attack today, not really wanting to film afterwards because I'm exhausted. It reminded me of that, and so I figured what better time than right now to talk about my mental health stuff. Trigger warning, I am going to be talking about depression, anxiety, suicidal ideations and thoughts. I'll be talking about all that. And I'm talking about it because I think it's something that is extremely important to start a conversation about. I think mental health is so unnecessarily stigmatized in our society, and it honestly kind of makes me a little bit ill. I think talking about your mental health should be no different than talking about if you have a common cold, you know? Because I feel like in one way or another, everybody kind of has experiences with it. So did I have other things to do today? Yes. Did my mental health kind of throw things for a loop? Also yes. So are we just having a night of cooking and self-caring? Yes. And so that's kind of, I just want it to be a nice chill video. I have a stuffed animal here because like, why not snuggle? This is Pig. I've had him since forever. I made him a little friendship bracelet when I was really little. But yeah, I digress. So I guess I'll just start right from the beginning. I come from a long line of mental health things, like mental illness. That's a better way to put it. I come from a very long line of mental illness. So I knew that I was kind of doomed from the start when it came to that, honestly. Like, I knew I was probably going to deal with it at one point or another, and that was just kind of it. Like, I knew that, my parents, I think, knew that. And in hindsight, I was always, now that I know that that was what I was dealing with, in hindsight, I was always an anxious kid. Always. Like, from as way back as I could remember, I was an anxious kid. And, yeah. So, I really remember it kind of starting up, or onsetting, I guess is the actual term, onsetting, when I was about 16. It was around the anniversary of a really difficult death that I had to deal with. Not that any death is not difficult, but in particular it was the death of a friend, and it was the death my first death that I ever had to deal with. I hadn't lost a grandparent that I could remember by that point. Nobody. And so it was the 1 year anniversary of that when I really remember it onsetting. I remember thinking something was up when I would cry for no reason for like sometimes hours at a time. I would stay up really late and sleep really late. I was not going to family functions. I was not hanging out with friends. I was not hanging out with my parents, which this was in the summer. So I was always doing stuff with my parents at that time. And I just didn't want to. And I remember I was having like suicidal ideations and stuff and suicidal thoughts throughout this whole time. I want to say the worst of it lasted about maybe a month. Yeah, I'd say probably a month. And I've always been the kind of person that bottles things up and just doesn't talk about them. It's definitely one of my character flaws. I wasn't really talking to anybody about what I was feeling or experiencing. So yeah, I wasn't talking to anybody about what I was feeling or experiencing at the time. Just kind of suffering in silence. Went on Tumblr a lot. You know. And I just remember one day, my parents were gone, and I was in the bathroom. I was about to get into the shower, and I just had this wave come over me, kind of saying, "This is the time." Yeah. But I just still had something in me that was like, no. And I don't know what that thing was. But it was there. And I'm really grateful that it was there. So yeah, after that, I went to my parents and I was like, "Hey parents, like, something's not right. Like, I need help." And so I went into therapy. I got into therapy. And my first therapist told me I just needed to exercise and eat better and I was going to be fine. She did say that she saw signs and symptoms of depression and anxiety, but she just seemed to think that if I ate better and exercised, I was going to be okay. I had been told that about many health things that I have dealt with and I'm still dealing with. And it's just never been the case. Like, yes, I do know that doing that helps everything, but it's also not everything, if you know what I mean. And yeah, so after that appointment, I went to my GP just to be like, "Hey, this is what I'm going through. This is what my therapist told me." My GP had seen me since I was 11, 12 maybe. So she knew me, and she knew that I was not me at that point in time. So she put me on medication, and that initial medication did not work, and I had to quit it cold turkey, and quitting it cold turkey made everything worse than it was before I even went on medication in the first place. But after years and years of perfecting it, I have finally gotten it down to a combination of 3 medicines that I am on for my mental health. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to come off of them. I don't really know if I'll ever want to try and come off of them. And that's okay. I think there's just there's this weird stigma about being on mental health medication and that it's bad, and it's not. Like, it's just another medication. I've never understood that rhetoric ever. But yeah, over this whole time, I know, and I'm still so grateful for how lucky I am to have the support system that I did in my friends and my family at the time. I know I'm very lucky to have that, and I don't take it for granted ever. I still very much deal with all of this now. I think I've just gotten better at like working with it and learning the signs and symptoms of when it's bad. It was very weird because when my therapist first brought up that she saw anxiety in me too, I just didn't understand because I never thought of that. I always thought of depression. I never thought of anxiety. And now I would actually say that my anxiety is far worse than my depression is. Everything's still very much there and prevalent, but my anxiety is so much worse. I don't know what why, but it just was. Or it just is. Yeah, and so after all of this kind of happened when I was 16, I was like the first friend in my friend group. As I recall, that I was depressed before it was cool. No. I was the first friend in my friend group to kind of start talking about it and being like, yo guys, this is what I'm going through. And the main reason for that was because I was going to be trying out medicines. And if I was gonna be a bear, I just wanted them to know, like, it wasn't because of them. It was solely because of what I was doing at that time. And that was trying out different medications. And me talking to my friends about this kind of inspired a couple of them to go get help, because they were like, hey, I've been feeling the same things. And after that, I have never seen a point to keeping it to myself, because I think the more we can talk about these things, the more people are going to feel comfortable talking about these things. And that is so important. Like, being able to open up a dialogue about this is so important, because there's still, like I've said, there still is just such a stigma around it. I just want anybody to feel like they can talk to me about what they are going through, because even if I don't have a lot of feedback, I just know that having someone to talk to is the most important part, right? And so that's why I wanted to make this video, was because for everybody, guys, girls, anybody who identifies as a human, it is integral that we can have these conversations with each other. Like, mental health is something that everybody deals with. Everybody. And I have really learned ways to cope with my mental illness and to kind of curb it, I guess, if that makes sense. Like, I find great joy in going on dates with myself, walking around the city by myself, going to a coffee shop by myself, and just working or just fiddling around my phone, doing whatever. I've found ways since I was 16 to kind of deal with this, and on top of being on medication. And I've been in and out of therapy too since I was in like 4th grade. And I recently just started going to therapy again since I moved to Denver. And that's been huge for me. Therapy is so fucking cool, guys. Like, it's so cool. Your eyes are open if you have a good therapist, which I am so thankful I do. In therapy, you learn things about yourself, and you start discovering things about yourself and why you work the way that you work, like, more than you would ever imagine. Like, I am now kind of starting to deal with how being an only child has affected me growing up and now, and it's just, you don't really understand it until you start it, and I can't recommend therapy enough. And I know being able to go to therapy in this country is a privilege, and that disgusts me. It disgusts me. So that's why I just want to serve as just a person for anybody who might be watching this to talk to if you need it. I'm not offering medical advice. None of that. But just having a person is really huge. And, yeah, just having a person is so huge. And I feel like this whole video's just been me babbling for like 20 minutes. But like I said, it was gonna be something different, and then I had a panic attack at work, and I had to get through it, and I got through it, and I was exhausted, but I still wanted to make something because I knew mentally that would make me feel better. And so yeah, that's what we're doing. We're talking about mental health. And this is kind of like I want this to kind of be an opener to maybe more videos in the future about this kind of stuff, because I am certainly not an expert on mental health. I will never have it figured out, I don't think. But I just like talking about it with people because it's important. And yeah, that's all I can really lend is just being a shoulder for somebody. I hate saying this because it sounds so cliche. Like, it's so cliche. But to anybody who's watching this, who is going through similar shit or the same shit that I did, or even anything completely different, but you still think or know that it is depression and or anxiety, just know that it really does get better. Like, it seems like your world is ending and nothing is going to make it better. But something will, and you've gotten through 100% of your worst days thus far. And if you've made it this far, you can keep going. That's all I really have to say. Yeah, I just wanted to talk, I guess, because I just had kind of a weird day today. And yeah, the next video is going to be way more fun. Probably way more thought out. But I just wanted to start this conversation. So yeah, if you need a shoulder, leave a comment down below, or go find my Instagram. It'll be down below in the description box, and just come talk to me. I'm here. Me and Pig are here. We got you. Alright? I'm your virtual big sis Megan. Sound good? Okay. Alright. Bye. Cheers.